We are all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
Another depraved and debaucherous. Thanks for listening in during the holiday season. This is your truly king of podcasts here with you. We're going to talk about Hinge, which, hey, I can't help but take them as a punching bag when they give me the opportunity. So, as we record tonight, Hinge is announcing a $1 million fund to help Generation Z build community in person. Okay, so you understand what this is? Just read that headline right off the top. So Hinge wants to help people meet in real life. Not through the app. We're going to try to do some things to create what's called One More Hour, a new social impact initiative mobilizing Gen Z to add more in-person connections to their lives. So you need to go ahead and get people used to the idea. Do you understand what this is? Hinge, the dating app you will delete and you will never use again, according to what they say. They want to put something down, which, by the way, they're putting $1 million. It's a drop in the well for them. Match Group. That's billions upon billions of dollars they've been making off everybody for years, okay? That's not a cheap service. That's $30 a month. $1 million? That's not anything for them. That's what, like a month's worth of revenue. They're going to use that to create some social environments so that people will go ahead and meet up and connect. And maybe the Generation Z will get used to the idea of going out and meeting people in person to date. Whether it's dating on Hinge or meeting friends on Hinge. Get it? Does this feel really do good? Really philanthropic? Do you feel like you're, really changing the world by doing this? So yeah, all right. They're going to tackle the loneliness epidemic by providing grants to social groups and organizations, helping Gen Z find belonging and community in person. This is not this hard. People can still go out and date. What is this idea they're thinking of? So starting in 2024, they're saying that 2 decades ago, it was different, that young adults had 1,000 fewer hours of in-person connection time each year, especially due to a lack of accessible third spaces. What? All right, hold on. Let me read. I'm going to take what they're saying here is the study, a University of Rochester study that they're citing in this press release. Third party. This is funny shit. All right, hold on. Third spaces, they said, right? I want to know what that means. So I don't know what they mean by this. Third spaces. It doesn't make any sense where they got this here from, but okay. Social connectedness is essential for health and longevity. And social isolation has increased. Social engagement with family, friends, and others has decreased, according to this study from the University of Rochester. Work hours emerge as a structural constraint to social engagement. Subgroups allocated social engagement differently across different relationship roles, as social engagement with friends, others, and in companionship plummeted for young Americans. And they talk about the fact that, there are health issues for this. So social isolation is linked to decrements in length and longevity. Isolated individuals are elevated risk for cardiovascular disease, dementia, low functional status, anxiety or depression, biological markers of poor health, among other things, and mortality. And also could lead to things like overdosing and suicide. This is all in the story here. So they say that rather than only targeting the most severely isolated in clinical settings, public policy has the potential to generate broad societal improvements and social connectedness across the risk trajectory. So, preventing tobacco use through smoke-free air spaces and excise taxes is considered more effective. So, maybe public policies that can promote social engagement and prevent isolation would be more effective across the population than simply collecting that information at point of care and addressing the needs of those found to have highly social isolation. So they're doing this as a means to curb social isolation. No, this is curbing the fact that people are not going to your damn site, your app, to get them to use it and spend $30 to $500 a month on trying to find dates. So what's the big fat number they're going to put out there? Grants individually, $25,000. Select social groups in Atlanta, Los Angeles, and New York City, providing Gen Z with fresh, affordable, and recurring in-person opportunities to connect with others. What about all these smaller towns? Where's Miami? Where's LA? Where's, the places that have a lot of dating? Atlanta, are we going to use that money towards that girl that's using it to buy 48 oysters at that oyster bar? Remember that? How about Houston for that girl, Ro Bash, that wants to go and find guys to go and wine and dine her? And what kind of dating are we going to get with that? What's that money being used for? Now, they're working with Do Something Strategic and the Foundation for Social Connection to develop impact benchmarks for the program and identify the organizations. And they'll work with a group of Gen Z judges to select the final awardees of the grants. Now, let's see here that Hinge has a committed history of tackling loneliness and facilitating meaningful in-person connections, working with in-house experts and partners to empower people with the necessary tools, resources, and tips they need. Yeah. They want to advocate for policies and initiatives to reduce loneliness. Fuck this. Who thought this was a good idea? So they also collaborated with the Foundation for Social Connection to create a distraction-free dating guide, and also work with the Surgeon General to help combat loneliness for daters during the pandemic. The distraction-free dating guide. A way to spark more quality time on dates. This is back in September. I must have missed this. Is really, so you can actually go ahead and look at the distraction-free dating guide through the Hinge app or downloading it. I'm going to download it real quick. I'm going to take a look at this for myself. This is on Google Drive, by the way, this PDF. This shit. This is funny. And it's taking a minute for it to load up. This is all this do-good performative bullshit. If you want distraction-free dating, if you want people to just meet up in person, hey, go to the fucking mall. Go to the park. Go to a festival. Go to the beach. This thing right here where they think, well, they need to create places for social isolation, to curb social isolation. Okay. Look, it's not our idea that the fact that when we were young kids, we used to go out and meet people. We used to go and go on our bikes and go ride around. Or we used to go and play sports outside in the backyard or in the front yard or with some other friends in the yard or go to a park or go to wherever and go do something. And then we might meet girls along the way. And if we went out, we'd go to clubs. And not strip clubs, clubs. They might have a little bit of a cover. That you might go and drink. You might go enjoy yourself. How about arcades? Arcades are still a thing. They're still around. Movie theaters have arcades. Movie theaters usually have ice cream shops and pizza places and all that stuff. How about that? Are you seriously telling me we don't have places that people can socialize? We had things that were made for being social. Okay, video games didn't have to be inside the damn house all the time. Okay, if people want to go and play Battlefield 8 or they want to go and play Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, that's fine, or watch anime. But you know what? You can also do that going outside. You can go to the movies and go watch anime. You want to see Boy in the Heron? You want to go see One Piece? You want to go see Naruto or whatever? Or you want to go see Dragon Ball Z? Yeah, go out. Go out to the movies. Go out and be noticed and be seen. Wear your gear, wear your garb. Go be noticed. And maybe some other like-minded people will find you. When superhero movies were still a thing and people were still watching them, hey, everybody went out, going out in Marvel garb and going out and having fun. How about the whole Barbie thing? There's a great social experiment. Every girl going out as a Barbie girl, getting dressed up. Single for the most part, or maybe taking their date. But for the most part, it was a way to go and curb social isolation. I'll tell you what. This distraction-free dating guide I'm looking here, okay. They say 78% of Hinge daters assume their date isn't interested in them if they're on their phone during their date. No, that's a lot of people. And yeah, they're not wrong about that. The rule of thumb should be turn off your phone or put it on vibrate and just don't get distracted by it. For an hour or two, spend some time on the person you're there with. They deserve the right and the privilege for you to give them your attention and your time. And if you don't have that kind of time to give, then don't accept the invite. It can't be that hard. But I don't know, for some people it is. So here's some distraction-free ideas. When you're matching, here's some things they tell you. Be clear about the connection you're after. Be intentional with your matches. Remember to check in with yourself. When you're messaging, lean into curiosity over snap judgments. Stay intentional despite a lack of matches. And when you're on a date, your screen is off. You share stories, not facts, and give your dates room to breathe. This is also the same bullshit as before, right? As always. And when I look at what they're also writing in here, recommending that you do when you're trying to go and get your matches, those were the summary. That was a summary of what you do when you're messaging, when you're matching, and when you're meeting up. So when you want to check in with yourself, when you're matching, they're trying to say, quote, ask yourself how you feel when you interact with a potential date. Quote, do I enjoy spending time with them? Do they have the qualities I'm after? Make sure to explore if the person's right for you. That's what they're trying to say. And that you want to put your phone to do not disturb and set it aside when you're going on a date. Leave wearable tech like smartwatches at home or turn off notifications so you're not distracted. And when you're on a date, share stories, not facts. Tell stories that reveal things about yourself. The best first dates are about opening up, connecting, and sharing what's really going on with you. Now, this is not rocket science here. But we're now at the point where we need a dating app to encourage people to get back on dating when they're the ones that destroyed the whole aspect of dating in the first place. Now, social media definitely took a role, right? But this right here, Hinge, and the way people are allowed to go ahead and, interact on that site. Look, you need to be able to get somebody to go ahead and, for them to go ahead and connect with another person, they have to wait for that person to match. It's not like you just go ahead and just connect right away. So if somebody gets rewarded by the chance of having someone they match with on Hinge and the person writes back to them and sends a message and gets to that point, you already made it extra tough to go on that app and start meeting some people in the first place. Because some people will get discouraged because they're waiting for someone to match back with them and try to say something back. And sometimes you have to go and do things to be able to get somebody to go and come back and talk to you. And you hope that maybe you can get somebody to go ahead and respond back in some way, but it doesn't happen that way. So you try to find another way to do it. And it doesn't work. People think that dating apps are still a way to meet people. If you want to be serious about dating, you don't go to a dating app anymore because they're not made for you to do that anymore at all. The people that are on there, they want to have a paywall. They want to have a boundary. They want to have a way to keep themselves at distance with somebody. Could it be because they don't want to show who they really are? Because they want to make it extra difficult for somebody to go and come on board and make it, well, it's so that person's going to be so patient and so willing and so unbecoming of who they are. They'll stretch themselves out thin and do what they can in order to go and keep talking to you as a desperate move and hope that romantic spark is going to come out. And you're going to feel that from them. And when you don't feel that from them right away on a dating app, then you hold off and think, well, maybe things will get better. Maybe that person's going to go and come to me and I'll be able to say, you know what? I'm going to find her and I'm going to go ahead and say to myself, all right, I will eventually meet up, but not right now. We're going to just keep running this as we can. You don't want to go ahead and rush into anything. But of course, on a dating app, that's all you're doing is not rushing into anything at all. You're not even going to try. You're not even going in a direction. Is that smart? Does anybody think they're getting anything out of a dating app now at all? I mean, do you notice people that are actually doing it at all these days? Because I don't. You know what's funny? When I was doing Uber for a while, I remember there was a couple of girls that I was with that were passengers. And I remember I was driving them to a party. There was it was a concert. So from my house in Delray out to Coral Sky Amphitheater, or now it's called, I think, or whatever it's called, Amphitheater now. It's a big amphitheater for like a country concert, I think it was. Either country or rock. And I remember on the way over, they're all dressed up to the nines. They look great. Probably, like I said, late 20s, early 30s. And when I'm driving them to the concert, the one girl is with her friend, and they're going on. No, she has 3 friends with her. There's 2 friends, 3 in the back seat. And one is in the middle, and she's playing with Bumble, checking out matches. And they're going through, and they are just laughing at every match they're supposedly on there. And you can just tell she's like barely not really matching with anybody. And then she talks about, oh, this guy reminds me of this, this and that. And, or she notices somebody that she actually tried to go and talk to and realize, oh no, I'm not interested in him. And it's like this whole deal of what social media makes you feel like you need to go and have status and clout for who you're going to be with. Like, because everybody else in the world can find the best in the world. You need to be able to do the same thing for yourself. It's like a contest. So Hinge thinks this is a good idea. And the girl just kept swiping through, and she's just laughing. Look at this guy. Ha, ha, And then they just pick on and look at the profiles and say, look what this guy is saying. Look at this and that. Look at this guy. Look at his pictures. He looks so old. He looks so fat. He looks so bald. He looks so this. Because nobody's taking those sites seriously. Not anymore. Hinge, I tried until I got deleted. Yeah, $1 million in this campaign from a company that's acquired by Match Group with a NASDAQ ticker. Okay. What is their price currently right now? Okay, they've been owned by Match Group for 5 years. Wait, $32. They got a whole lot of money. Okay. They're not hurting. They're not hurting at all. But the thing is that this kind of thing, they think it's going to be doing a help. They work with a couple of these organizations I never even heard of. Foundation for Social Connections. Their vision is for all Americans to have the opportunities and evidence-based support necessary to be socially engaged in society. So we need help for people that don't know how to be, can be extrovert or can be out, and they can congregate with other people. That's the kind of the idea. Do something strategic. Social impact consultancy of DoSomething.org, using data and insights derived from over 8 million young people taking action. They support mission-aligned brands and organizations developing more effective social impact strategies. When you look at some of these organizations like this, 501c3s, you got to ask yourself, how much is actually going towards administration, towards the marketing? How much is actually going to the actual projects? Good question. And I'm going to do something real quick to find out. Here we go. Charity ratings. I could probably find out what their rating is if I want to find out if they're actually a good organization or not. We're going to try Charity Navigator and find out right now how much is going to what. Okay. No rating on them, and nothing being said at all about how much they actually give back to what they're doing. But we don't know anything about them. What about DoSomething.org? Let's try that. DoSomething.org. Let me see here. I'm looking through here to see if there's any here. DoSomething.org. Here we go. Charity's 100%. There's 100% score. So the part they say they give a 100% score. Material division of assets. Here we go. They say it's 20 out of 20 points. But they don't tell you how much has been taken out. And how much money is going to what. So they say the program expense ratio is 80%. They're saying that, 80% goes to the program? I guess. Here we go. The program gets 79% roughly. This is actually fiscal year 2021. 70% is administrative. 3% goes to fundraising. Okay. 80% goes to it. That's pretty good. Can't say that about the other organization. We don't know about it. Nothing's on it. But all right, 80% goes to them. That's a pretty credible organization. So, 4 out of every $5 you put in, 8 out of every 10 is actually going to that organization. So that's good. DoSomething.org. All right. That's nice. But what are they doing? I don't know. But Do we need to worry about this part and say, okay, well, what is it they can actually do? You know what I mean? What is it they're actually doing that are programs to get the, like, I mean, yeah, they got like what, volunteer programs. That's nice. Strength through service, they do. Come together, take action, and build healthy and connected relationships. All right. That's good. Well, listen, it's a small donation, a drop in the well for these guys to put that little bit amount into this. Do you feel like it's actually worth it? I don't know. But this is part of a longer study, right? Because when you also think about the fact that what Hinge's social impact director tells Fast Company about this story is that you can just tell people go out, hang in person, but we know that doesn't necessarily work. You get to spend time around an activity. It sort of takes the pressure down to getting to know other people because you're there to do something, and that connection is going to happen as a result of it. So, like, here's the point. So you have these different activities that you're going to offer. There's like singles connections. Those also don't work either. For the most part, they don't. Unless they think that these organizations can do something about it, but they think maybe they can make something out of this that'll work. It's a singles event. You know how often those singles events really work? They don't. They just don't. I remember it. I used to go to those. Plenty of Fish used to always regularly have events like that. But then you see who comes to those events. Sometimes they were pretty good, but for the most part, there'd be these public gatherings and all, and you get people together, but people really didn't get together. They would just make friends. But like if you wanted to date, not necessarily. So Gen Z killing apps. AOL puts a story out from Pure Wow. An Axios survey recently. Nationwide, 978 college-age people revealed that 79% of respondents did not use a dating app regularly, and more than half met their most significant other in person. 35% in school, 14% through mutual friends, 50% randomly in person because they went out. They went outside. No social spaces, no large gatherings for people to get together. No. Just go in. It doesn't bode well for the app's immediate future because the rest of the Gen Z is coming of age, dating age in the next 10 years. So Gen Z, and according to Nancy Jo Sales, who wrote a couple of books. One recent book is Swiped, Hooking Up with the Digital Age. It was a documentary she wrote on directed on dating culture. She's collected accounts of app-enabled sexual violence, scamming, racism, transphobia, and predation of the underage. And she's come away with the idea that digital apps are harmful to users. Quote, this isn't a personal animus. It's a person with a beat. Sometimes as a reporter, you see something that feels very urgent because you see it hurting people. I feel like there's a similar thing happening right now. So dating apps are hurting people. They are damaging. They're not safe. They're dangerous. And these are things we got to worry about. And there's another issue that goes along the same place here. Once again, the same thing. That people think this is a good idea. I'm going to take one other story before we wrap up here for the night. And it's a new study that came out that says that many adults opt for child-free life without regret. This was a story that surprised me. Now, we know there's a lot of people that, they kind of struggle with the fact that, well, they want to have kids. And because you have to require yourself to go ahead and be either with a surrogate or with somebody that you're with as a life partner or whatever, in order to, or be with somebody of the opposite sex to be able to have a child. So this new study comes into play. Michigan State University has confirmed that 1 in 5 adults in Michigan, that's close to equivalent to 1.6 million individuals, they choose not to have children. 1 in 5. And last summer, they realized that 1.7 million Michigan adults were child-free. And now there's a new study that got published in PLOS 1. And so they wanted to try to figure out the reasons behind the decision. So they go in. Study was conducted by the Institute for Public Policy and Social Research at Michigan State University. 1,000 adults in Michigan. And here's what they found out. Almost 20%, 20.94% of the adult population in Michigan identify as child-free. They do not have and do not want biological, step, or adopted children. The group is second in size only to parents who make up 52.79% of the population. And they found out that these folks, 1 in 5, don't want children or are child-free, and then they verified it. They notice that adults who have always been single and those identifying as LGBTQIA are more likely to be child-free. The prevalence of child-free adults did not significantly differ by age, education, or income. They look for the same as other adults. No differences in the prevalence of child-free adults by age, education, or income. And they also said that child-free individuals made their decision and made their choice during their prime childbearing years, teens or 20s. So it's not that child-free is a decision made later in life. And also regarding that child-free choice is the potential for regret later in life, they said there's no substantial evidence to support people feeling regretful for not having kids. Now, in the story, they're talking about that child-free people, especially women, are often told they'll be dissatisfied with life or regret their decision later. But they compared how many adults age 70 and older said they want to change something about their life. In other words, would they have any regrets about how their life had gone? And they didn't see any difference between child-free people and parents. Where are we going, man? So people don't want to have kids, and you're trying to encourage and put down money to donate to try to get people to go and get back together and start meeting up. You know what? Let's just stop all this shit, huh? Let's get a pledge out here. We need to start doing something more. This right here is stupid. Does anybody think we like this idea that people don't get together, they don't hook up, they don't have, they're together? I see so many young girls out there alone, single. They might be with friends, but like, there's nobody with them. And look, I'm not even talking about the fact that like if you're straight or gay or transsexual or transgender, whatever. The thing is, I'm telling you like this. I'm not seeing a lot of people getting together. And my thing is, if there were a lot more people that, if women were more with women, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing if there were more women out there together with each other and holding hand in hand or being close to each other. Not that many. And not that many that are just, traditional heterosexual couples or, curious couples, whatever that might be polyamorous. We're not seeing people staying together or getting together or just being close to each other. So hard, man. The other day I was at Twin Peaks, the bar, right? Sports bar. And, me and the other guys were Bucks fans. We're all watching the game on TV. And it was on Sunday afternoon. And we noticed one girl, beautiful Spanish girl, late 20s. And then the guy she's with, probably late 20s as well. Like they're casually dressed. They're on a date. And they're meeting up. I don't think they were watching necessarily sports, but they decided to go to Twin Peaks because it's just a place to go. And they're sitting there for a couple of hours. They're having dinner, or they're having lunch, excuse me. And I remember there was one point where the girl decides to go and get up and go to the restroom. The guy escorts her to the restroom the first time they go. And I guess they go back to the restroom one more time, but separately. There was a point where the guy is there and he's just waiting for her to come back because you went to the restroom twice. No big deal. But like I was just saying, the guy was so close to her and so much in love with her. You could just tell it's like a honeymoon couple type, right? And she is escorted by this guy and they go together. Like it's kind of gentlemanlike. It's like, isn't that kind of cool? Like, but that's not like how close they are. But they're a little bit older. There's not a lot of couples. Not a lot of couples. And by the way, I had a friend of mine, having some issues because he's about, 10 years plus into a marriage? And he's got a couple kids. I'm not going to give more information than that. But he was dealing with the fact that, hey, things are kind of tough in the relationship. Like, the kids are growing up and there's not much time for them. Like, what brought them together? It's that part where, it's those growing pains of becoming that couple and trying to keep it together. I'm not getting them, the sexual satisfaction on both sides is not there. They're both tired. They're both exhausted. They both work hard. Because both of them do work hard and they make time for the kids and they make it work. But one of the things that's an issue is the fact that they're so tired about everyday life, the grind and putting it together. And, they're both really well off. Listen, they got a nice home. They're not struggling. They're pretty successful. And they're both good looking people. And they're both really cool. Like the couple, like talking to you, I went to his wedding. And I was so happy. I remember when I met him, when we were hanging out before, I've known him for 15 years. And I'm saying to myself, all right, so Dee even had a little bit of hesitation before they got together and got married because she had cold feet. But they still got together and they got married. And it was awesome because she's a sweet, beautiful, wonderful girl. It's nothing. I get it. I totally see the appeal. And I like, you know what? I totally see why he wanted to be with her. But now you've been 10 years into it. You invested. You got beautiful kids. You got beautiful daughters, right? Like, got it pretty well. Single guy looking at this, I'm saying to myself, man, he's got the wife, he's got the kids. They're having a good old time. You know what I mean? It's like when they do get a chance to go on vacation by themselves, they have a great old time and everything just kind of sparks right back up. But you know what? Regular everyday life, the grind is tough. But they make it work. And like, you know, hey, it's a venting thing. But like the truth is, as a single guy, I'm telling them, don't think about it, man. You have it so well. Don't give anything like that up. Don't consider it. You don't want to be single. You don't want to be what it's like. Because I remember what it was like for him and for me. I know what it's like because I've been like that all my life. I'm not doing that. I don't want to go through that. Now, I want to take one other message I got to go and take from the program. Because when I talked previously on the program, I had a comment on my YouTube channel asking about, you know, serial dating. So I want to take this comment here and point it out. So I did an episode a few weeks ago about why guys shouldn't be friends with a serial dater. And I talked about my story about a good best friend of mine who basically just ran through girls. And it was amazing the girls he was with and how wonderful they were. But he was like, no. So Carlos by 5XL, he writes out and asks, so why shouldn't you be friends with serial daters? Well, you don't want them to rub off on you. You don't want their habits. You don't want their thought process. Like if you want to be with a girl and or with a guy and you want to be in a relationship, you want to be around people that are like-minded. Because imagine, you can't bring a girlfriend that you're with and introduce her or introduce him. Like, is that a good idea to go and put yourself in with some friends that are very toxic and are going to ruin things? Let me tell you, there was a girl that I was very interested in. And I remember all I was doing was talking to her on the phone. And I was skeptical about her. She was maybe an example of the friend zone when I started doing that series. But when I think about her, and maybe I'll bring that up next week. I should go ahead and I'm not follow up on that. But all I'll say is that the ending of me talking to her and getting to know her better, I was wrong about her. Maybe after all, I was so skeptical and so cynical about myself that a girl that might be interested in me might be attracted to me. Even though I might be heavier, I might have been bald already. And there was a couple of friends of mine, you know, kind of just schlepping, right? And we were hanging out. I was hanging out at Friendly's, an ice cream spot. That's right next to everyone else, right? And then this one girl who is cantankerous, and that's another story on another day. Okay, one of my best friends that I know came here as a result of this girl. I remember I told you about this, I think, a while back. So my friend came here because of the idea that he was here to meet another girl coming from up north in the Midwest and coming down to West Palm Beach where I live to meet a girl. But this girl used another girl's picture, one of her friend's pictures, to draw the guy down here. So she's not good. And I remember she was upset about something because I think she was still talking to this guy. And when I was talking to this girl just on the phone, just to talk to her, this girl decides to start yelling and saying, you're a bitch, you're this and that. And then the girl I was talking to, she hung up. I couldn't get her back on the phone again. Like, I mean, it wasn't good for her to just kind of like just drop me like that. But you know what? Something happened there. What a shame. Pretty girl. She was sweet. I was intimidated by her because she was her approach, the way she was, she just felt like she was just a good girl, just quality girl, just smart, intelligent, articulate. refined, cultural, just playful, sexual, kind of kinky. Like, there's so many qualities about her that I loved, and she was beautiful. And I was thinking, she's not for me. I need to go and pull that story back. I'm actually going to go ahead and look at that, and I'm going to bring that up. She didn't necessarily friend zone me, but it was a girl that I got away. I haven't thought about her in a while, but I think about the fact that, man, she got away, and maybe I was completely wrong, and I was an idiot for being so skeptical and so cynical about that she could really be genuinely interested in me. But then I saw one of the guys she got with after. Could have been like me. I fucked up. And because of things like that, I have to come back and do another episode of this program and continue to go and vent and share my story and share what happened to me in hopes that my stories will resonate with some of you out there. For some of you guys out there, and for some of you girls, that you might know a guy in the same kind of situation. And you say to yourself, man, nice guy, good guy, then you might, when they're kind of awkward and they don't know what to say, they don't even know what to do if they got on a date. Like, let me tell you like this. With her, if I would have gone on a date with her, I wouldn't have known what to do. I mean, could have tried, but it would have been very awkward. But instead, I didn't get to go out with her. No, not at all. I ended up doing something else. I ended up, not getting any of those girls at all. I just decided to do something else with myself. Decided to become a little depraved and debaucherous.